Okay, this problem, this one, I do want you to write this, explaining in your own words, because in your own words, so it could be different for everyone. That's why on your answer thing, answer may vary. Use example to illustrate your explanation. So I'll start by explaining why it's a triangle if you haven't seen it yet, because let's say your equation is y equals to 2x. That means you start at the origin, 0, 0, and you go up 2 over 1. That could be 1, 2 over 1. And then up 2 over 1. It's a constant rate of proportionality. That's your constant rate. It's proportional because it starts at the origin. But if you do that, you see, you keep doing it constantly, you have a right triangle there, each one. So you can explain that any way you like, any way you can understand it. I like this because it says slope is another one for rate of change. M is the slope. All these are important. Maximilian is cleaning shrimp. He cleans 4 shrimp every minute. So 4 shrimp, 4 to 1, that's your constant rate of proportionality. If you use time in minutes as the independent variable, okay, time in minutes is the x if you had a graph. Independent is always quantity and the number of shrimp as the independent quantity. And dependent, I mean, that's your y. Okay, the number of shrimp is your y. You have to define a variable. In a relationship, is the relationship a proportional or non-proportional? It is proportional because your rate, it's you're doing 4 shrimp a minute. If you haven't started at 0. 0 minutes, 0 shrimp. So it starts at your origin. It passes through the origin. Origin is 0, 0. Use an equation. The equation of this is y equals to 4x, where 4 is the constant rate of proportionality. Okay, and that's where they have it right here. And the constant rate is 4 every time, right? Or the constant rate is the same. I guess that's why. Why did they say explain how you can determine by using a graph? Anyways, identify the unit rate of the relationship. The unit rate is 4 to 1. And the meaning, right there. Okay, unit rate is 4 to 1. You can copy 4 shrimp every 1 minute. Or 4 shrimp per minute, or it can be written as 4 over 1. Write an equation. Oh, we already wrote an equation right here. Create a graph of the relationship. So Okay, you don't want to use negative numbers here. You're only focusing on positive number because you don't clean negative number of shrimp. So we don't have to make all the quadrants like this, you know. Just going to use quadrant 1 because we're using all positive numbers. Oops, I meant to erase this. Anyways, so 0 shrimp, 4 to 1, that means you go up 4 shrimp. You put, it says right here, time in minutes is the independent, that's your x. Your y is the dependent. So time in minutes is your independent variable, or quantity. Dependent is the number of shrimp. Hashtag shrimp. And then graph it. You do 4 to 1, so you go up 4 over 1 shrimp. Up 4 over 1 shrimp, so that's 2. And constantly going up. Okay, if you have graph paper would be great. I have my son use little Post-its. Consider the following graph. Consider each graph shown. Determine whether graph relation is a proportional or non-proportional. Write an equation to represent the relationship between the independent and dependent quantity. Okay. This goes through the origin, so it is proportional. And write an equation. Well, let's see. This is here to here. The origin to there is 50. We went up 50 and over 5, right? So 50 over 5. The constant rate is 10. Even if you go here, you see this is a right triangle. You go here to there. It still should be the same, even though it looks more. So because from 50 to 70, then 120 is 70, right? And from number 5 to number 12 is 7. So 70 over 7 is still 10. So no matter where you start, you're going to have the same constant rate of proportionality. Or rate of change, slope, they all mean the same, right? So we normally give this as m. Okay, so m is 10. And if you have to write an equation on that, it's y equals mx plus b. B is, the origin is 0, so you don't have to write that. So y, the constant rate of proportionality is the letter m, 10x. Like that. Okay. I think I teach too much. So here is the same thing. You can try yourself. And the answer is B. Letter C. 1C. Where's, oh, that's this graph here. This is not. It's a non-proportional. Okay, because non-proportional. Because it didn't start at the y-intercept. It's not at the origin. It's at 5. So and then the other point is here. You go up. How many is that? 5 to 9 is 4. We're making sure. and over to this number 1. So 4 over 1, or just 4, right? Each time, and you should see that each time it's 4 over 1. So the constant rate or rate or slope is 4 over 1. That's your m, or just 4, right? So your equation is y equals to 4x, but because it didn't start at 0, it passes through 5. We call that the y-intercept. The y-intercept, or the letter b, is 5. Okay, so this one here for D, it's also non-proportional because it doesn't pass the origin. But notice the line is going down. So the constant rate of proportionality is a negative. So you go down, right there, down there, over there. So down 3, so that's a negative, over to that number 4. If you can see, it keeps going down 3 over 4 each time, creating a right triangle. Okay, so it's m is down 3 over 4. So the equation then is y equals negative 3 over 4 x plus, where it starts at, 12. We call that the y-intercept, or the letter b. Okay, try numbers stretching. Try that on your own. You can write any equation and graph it. See if you can do it. Determine whether each equation represents a proportional relationship. Proportional. This is non-proportional. Okay. Examine the figures shown. All right. 2 pairs of, did I skip something? I didn't skip anything, did I, you guys? I skipped that one. Okay. You can do on your own though. Okay. Just in case you forget, same side interior. Let's look at same side interior angle. Okay, and here's the answer. These are all possibilities. Okay, so you can look at those, and that's the answer to that. If you look at interior, they're the same side inside. So angle 4 and angle 5. Any one, 3, 4. The other one are called exterior. They're on the ends. Yeah, I remember this is inside those 2 lines crossed by a transversal. If you've forgotten. Congruent angles. Congruent are another word for the same, equal angles. So vertical angles are congruent. So angle 4 and 2, angle 1 and 3. So that's how they write it. They use this simple and. You can also write, I just put comma. I should write the word and in between. But supplementary angle are angles together makes 180 makes 180 degrees. So like angle 1 and 2, 180 degrees maybe, from one to the other. Makes a line like that, So that's supplementary. There's many here. That makes 180. 5 and 6, 7 and 8, 4. Or you don't even have to look at this one. It could be here like that. That's why they have all these possible answers that you can pick. Okay, so here's the answer to these, but you need to know how to do them. These are supplementary angle, alternate interior, if these lines are parallel. See, these are parallel lines. These are not. These two lines are not parallel here. Line 1 and line 2 are not parallel. So these do not make 180 degrees. They do not make 180 degrees. Because S and T are parallel lines, it says so in our direction. These two are supplementary angles, so they make 182. So 150 plus 3x added to this angle here, added to 2x plus 70, they add up to 180 degrees. So we can solve it like that. They're supplementary angles. I hope you remember how to solve equations, which is very, very important. Add 70 and 50 together. They're called like terms. And then add the other like terms here. 5x equals to 180. Subtract 120. Okay, you always make 0. If there's a plus sign, that's how I normally explain it. You got 5x equals to 60. And divide last, always divide last in a solving equation, equals to 12. 12 times 5 is 60. X is 12, and therefore afterwards they put in the 12 in here. I usually take the easier one. 150 is a large number. I'll take the 70. 2 times 12 is 24, plus 70 is 94. That's how they got their answer. How do you know where they get 54? I think that they made this book made an error on giving us this number. Yeah, and it doesn't make sense because this is tiny and this needs to be a big one. 150, yeah, this was an error on their part. But this is how you find X, and they're supplementary. It's a good error on the book. And that's it. And then tomorrow we'll learn slippery slope. Not a fine moment for the